All right, we have a quorum present. We're going to go ahead and get this meeting started. This meeting is called to order. We have Gabriel from the middle school mariachi band that's going to do the Pledge of Allegiance for us, and Paul Mostella is going to do the board mission statement. If y'all stand with us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
The Wilson Midway Independent School District educates every student to be a lifelong learner, a person of integrity, and a positive contributor to society. That's our mission.
Thank you, Gabriel and Paul. Our next item is public comment and open forum. Public comments at regular board meetings will be conducted in accordance with board policy BED. At meetings other than regular board meetings, public comments are limited to items on the posted meeting notice and agenda. At regular meetings, public comments are allowed on any topic regardless of whether the topic is an item on the agenda posted with the notice of the meeting. Comments shall be heard at the beginning of the board meeting. Comments are limited to 5 minutes per speaker, except that non-English speakers requiring a translator are limited to 6 minutes. The presiding board officer may modify or waive these time limits as appropriate. Public comment shall not be used for personal attacks by the speaker against district employees or students. Speakers who engage in personal attacks or use insulting, profane, threatening, or abusive language during any board meeting shall be ruled out of order by the presiding board officer and may be escorted from the board meeting room. Any concerns or complaints regarding individual district employees, students, or parents must be resolved via the appropriate complaint process as stated in board policy BED local. Pursuant to section 551.042 of the Texas Government Code, no board member or administrator may respond to a member of the public regarding an item that is not on the agenda unless such response is a recitation of district policy or a statement of specific factual information. Our first person is Tracy McCall.
Good evening, Board of Trustees. I'm Tracy McCall at 14950 Lake Athens. I'm actually here to talk about a closed session item, the superintendent's goals and evaluation. You guys are a new board. I'm not sure, most of y'all are a new board. I'm not sure if y'all know two of the things that he's done that are not publicized on Facebook or anywhere else, which is kind of on the DL. A few months ago, my daughter came in and spoke to get a golf period here at TM. TM has never had a golf period ever. I don't even think when Shelby was here, not even Cal Allen has a golf class, a period, an actual period where students can go and practice golf. So she came and spoke here, and with the support of the superintendent, as well as Mr. Alvarado and Coach O'Neill, TM now has a golf period, and that golf program has grown from 3 golfers to 10. That opportunity would never have been there if we did not have a superintendent that supported it, and also administration that worked to push that period forward. I think it's important to have the right people in the right places, and I think you guys have done a great and excellent job with the superintendent, our principals, and our AD. Not only that, but the first tournament that our JV boys played in, they placed in a tournament, and that is just absolutely awesome, you know, to get that recognition and that opportunity, because that would have never been there, and these boys wouldn't have played golf, you know, if that period did not exist. The second thing that I wanted to touch on is I got a phone call over Christmas break from a parent, and this parent was looking to transfer into a district. They had 3 districts they were looking at TM, Orange Grove, and Cal Allen. And she was like, "Oh my gosh, Tracy, I called your superintendent and he answered. And he won me over and we are going to TM." And I was like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah, he's awesome, isn't he?" But it's things like that that you don't see, you know, that he picks up the phone when you call, and if he doesn't answer, he'll send you a text and he'll let you know, like, "Hey, I'll call you back in about 10-15 minutes or tomorrow." But even not within the community, people outside of our community, you know, that have concerns about TM or that want to transfer into TM. I mean, they're open and he's answering the phone and he's responding, and now we have a new TM person coming over here, and her brother, who's in sports, plays football and baseball, will be coming over next year. But these opportunities are going to be there. And, you know, if he wouldn't have answered that phone, they might have been at Calallen or Orange Grove. You know, they might have been somewhere else. But just kind of wanted to highlight that, you know, he's here. He's done a wonderful job for the district. We're very excited on the things that we see coming forward. But we need somebody that's actionable, and he's very actionable. And so that's kind of what I wanted to pop in and say. I did want to talk on another agenda item, and I just wanted to bring it up really quick, is there's been a lot of conversations between the middle school and what we're going to do with the field that we're using currently as our football practice field. If you're not aware of it, our 7th and 8th graders practice at Westfield Park. It's an empty field that we use, and the coaches go out there and have to paint it every day. But in between that field, we had 2 disc golfers go out there and play. So we have 2 disc towers that are out there. So while our boys are out there practicing, we have disc players that come and like are throwing the disc around, and so it really interrupts our practice. Tomorrow, during the city council meeting, there is an agenda item where they're going to be talking about Westfield Park. They have some bond money for 2020 that was left over that they're going to use to do some upgrades at Westfield Park. I would encourage y'all, our athletic director, whoever's open, to go and speak at their public comment and start and open those conversations on what partnership we can grow or build to do something with Westfield Park. Maybe something, I don't know. Everett has some great ideas, but I think those discussions need to be brought forward to all of their council members and get all of their buy-in. And I think that would be a benefit to TM and get our boys something at 7th and 8th grade to see or play on instead of playing in the grass at Westfield Park. That's it. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Ms. McCall.
Okay.
Our next speakers are Mike Husley and Roy Everett.
Good evening, Mr. Superintendent, Madam President, board members. Thank you very much for allowing us to come here tonight. For those of you who I have not met, I'm Mike Husley. I live at 3916 Castle Valley Drive. I've lived in this school district a very long time. I sat where you did once for 9 years. I was first elected to this board in 1986 when Kim and Paul were probably both still in junior high. But it was a great experience for me. And I'm now a member of the City Council of Corpus Christi. Everett is your brand new District 1 Council representative, and he's going to speak to you in just a moment. I'm an at-large member of the City Council. The City Council has 9 members. 3 of us are elected at-large. 3 top vote getters are at-large. The mayor's at-large, and then we have 5 district council members, one of which is your District 1 council member, Everett Roy. And we're here tonight to encourage the school district and the citizens of this northwest area of Corpus Christi to take advantage of the fact that you have 2 council members elected to the city council who both live in this area. I am the very first member of the city council elected at large that lived in the northwest area of Corpus Christi. There's never been one before. Most of the at-large members that were elected to the City Council of Corpus Christi lived on the south side of Corpus Christi. So this is a big deal for our area. And we want the school district and the people who live in this area to take advantage of that. We heretofore have not felt that we've been getting our fair share of things, and we've always felt like the stepchild out here in northwest Corpus Christi, and we want to change that. So we want to work with you. Many times you are aware of things that are going on in your school district that we may not be aware of with respect to all facets and features, streets or infrastructure issues, things that are going to impact your school district. And we want to be here and assure you that we're here to help you with those issues. Councilman Lerma and I have had an opportunity to work with Superintendent Dimitri on the road issues over at the elementary school and the intermediate school. We haven't fixed all those problems, but we're working together to try to make that a better place. And as Tracy just alluded, I think, yeah, there she is. As Ms. McCall just alluded to, we've set aside some money for improvements out in this area to Westfield Park and some other areas, and we want you involved in that. So please let us have your ideals and what we can do for you, because we want to help make this a better area, a better community, and a greater school district. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
So first of all, I'd like to say Happy New Year. I asked Mike to come out and join me as the new, I was a council member before for District 1, and I left for 2 years, and now I have the privilege of coming back and serving the community. It's so important, in terms of my journey from leaving and coming back. One of the things I will tell you is that I appreciated being a council member before. I appreciate it even more now. We fought hard, it was good. I appreciate the support that I've had from Tracy and the community overall. One of the things that I want to make sure is that I want to participate and be a part of everything that you folks do. I want to know, hopefully I can get on an email list to know when your games are. I've been to a few of your events now, but I want to get involved. I want people to see us out there making sure that we're transparent and that we're working together. I think it's critically important to understand that, as a school district, interacting with the parents and interacting with the youth and the children, you're going to see things way before we're going to hear about them. There's a lot of times people don't bring things up to the council, maybe because they're scared or maybe they've had somebody that wasn't receptive to them before. And we want to be able to know those things. I think what you guys, education's a key. I've been a very big proponent of education myself. My wife is a teacher, and it's just so important to make sure that we take care of our youth and we set the foundation now for the future. I'm excited. I've already got a list of things that was given to me today on issues, manholes, different things that need help in your community, some lighting issues. And I will promise you one thing, you can always reach me. Weekends, it doesn't matter. In the evening, I usually answer the phone till about 10 o'clock at night. You will have my direct cell phone, and I encourage each of you and this community to reach out to me. So thank you.
That's it. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Our next speaker is Landon Hosto.
Good evening, y'all. Excuse me while I read off my phone. I kind of wrote it today, so it means I mean it from the heart. So, hi, my name is Landon Hasso. I'm here to speak on an item in closed session. I would like to start off by saying thank you to the superintendent for all that you've done, not just for the schools, for the community, but me personally. On the field, you helped me push me past my expectations, made me believe I was capable of doing things I never thought I was capable of doing. Having his presence around me felt like I could achieve anything, or just as the impossible. TM needed change, and the superintendent made that happen for the greater good. We're all truly thankful for everything he has done for us. I remember in the season after every touchdown, he would say the same 3 words to me: "Are you through?" And thanks to him, I truly believe my journey has only begun. Thank you.
Our final speaker is Sylvia Henderson.
Happy New Year and me again. Well, I came over here to address Mr. Councilman Edward Roy and the councilman here because it was safety. I have an issue with, I have been living over here. Well, first of all, my married name is Sylvia Henderson. My birth name is Sylvia Jimenez de la Garza. So even though I'm not from here, my family founded actually Mrs. County. I'm related to Blas Maria, Captain Blas Maria de la Garza. So because I know some people say, well, if you're not from here, you can move. So I care for the community, and that's what I came from every other meeting that I'm able to do. So if I'm sick, I come over here because I care for the kids. I see them. I'm stay home mom, unfortunately. So I see them. I go pick up my kids. I see the kids through the rain, on the sun, and I see them a lot. And for the safety, my concern is this: we don't have sidewalks to go to the new intermediate. We have 500 homes that were built over there by the intermediate, Brian Morgan. And this is what I see. This is a 15-year-old boy, which we're lucky that he's tall and he's able to see. But 10 years ago, when I moved over here, I saw a little girl who was not even 4 feet tall, or barely 4 feet tall, in the rain, walking from the high school through the mud. when I was able to pull over and pick her up, because I always driving and dropping out my son, and because everybody know my son, so she's like, oh, you're the mom of dolls. Yes, okay, she will bump in. But when I wasn't able to get in the car or pull over because there were cars behind me, or it was too rainy and I was afraid that I was going to hit her or fall in the ditch, I waited until it was, she was able to load it to the van and get her in. But this is the issue that we have been for the last 12 years since I'm here. We pay a lot of taxes. This is the 21st century. We shouldn't be having these kids walking. We shouldn't have it. And this issue is also in Leopard over here. When it's raining, when the kids get out, we're lucky that a lot of parents are able to pick up their kids. But the ones who, they don't go on the bus or they miss the bus and they have to walk, these kids get hit real easily. This was at 5 o'clock right before vacation in December. I went in Ron Morgan and picked up whatever for my husband. And I saw him, I was like, let me follow him. And I saw him and I was like, perfect. I pulled over, took a picture, because this is something that we need to fix. And this is something that is going to happen too. And it's going to get worse when they build the new apartment complex. I welcome the progress because we need more restaurants, more stores. I don't want to go downtown and fight the traffic. But this is the problem we're going to have too in Session Road. Mr. Hernandez knows Session Road, and it's just like North Harrington that you have to pull to the side so the other car can pass. And once you build the apartment complex, there's going to be kids walking on the same position, basically going on the ditch, on the grass, while they're getting dropped off. The other gentleman came last December saying from 500 cars that there's the traffic right now is going to increase to 6,000. So just imagine, there's no sidewalks on that. There's nothing. The kids get dropped off from one street. They're going to be with all that traffic and nowhere to go but on the mud. When it's a good day, sunny, it's okay. But when it's not, so this is something that we need your help. I'm saying we pay a lot of taxes. Where's our money? Tell the city, hey, if they're not going to use their money, give us the money. We can have a mayor. You can be the new mayor for Canavio. We can separate with Corpus and just have Corpus and Cal Island, and all the money from the refineries can be invested on this area, really, because I know I'm not from here, and I'm saying, well, it was worse before, you should be glad. I was like, no, dude, I'm paying my taxes. I pay my dues. I'm from Mexico, just like my great-grandfather. So, but over there I paid $10 for a 6-bedroom, 2-story house with 4 bathrooms, 6 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, and 6-car garage. And it's a 2-story with cement blocks, not made of wood. It's half my house over here, and I pay $10. My street is not paved, but I know why. I know because I'm paying nothing. I'm paying pennies for my services. Over here, we pay a lot, so we need the services. Sorry, and that's all I want to know. We need infrastructure. We need sidewalk. We need traffic lights, especially in the intermediate. We have every month we have an accident around Morgan. The parents going out or coming out of the intermediate, they can see who's coming because the big trucks. So many traffic. They're turning to the school, and there's parents going out. And there's accidents at least once a month. So if not more. So we really need infrastructure. We need traffic over there, traffic on Charles, and sidewalks. Sorry. Thank you so much. And help out our community.
Thank you to all our speakers. We greatly appreciate y'all coming.
Well, Madam President, members of the board, as you can see and smell and possibly taste and wear, it's a little taste of TMISD to thank you during January Texas Appreciation Board Recognition Month. I think that the slogan "Forward Together" is really appropriate for TMISD. I'm very excited that this body corporate can move forward to meet the needs of our amazing kids and our amazing staff. The baskets, you're gonna need to help me with this, Ms. Castillo. The baskets are from the superintendent's office, correct?
Yes, sir.
The flowers are from ACC
High school?
High School.
Yes. The ACC has potted plants for you guys and they're outside. So you'll pick those up on your way out.
There was some, as they would say in West Virginia, there was some varmints in them. That we couldn't bring inside, so they're outside. The baskets are from middle school, and I'm sure there'll be more coming from the other camp. And then our elementary angels have created some artwork for you, but that's not all. My guess is, like myself, you like some good mariachi music. So Ms. Arias and Mr. Alvarado, will you make the recognitions for our students? We have middle school students and we have high school students. Can we start with middle school?
We're starting with middle school. So, Mr. De La Rosa, you want to tell them about the students, and these are the ones
Sure.
that are in
So
the region?
these students, my name is Tony De La Rosa. I'm the head middle school band director, and I assist Mr. Salinas with the middle school mariachi. These students here are a mixture of 7th and 8th graders, of course. And raise your hand if you're a 7th grader. These kids right here are some of the first students that have gone to a competition and actually placed with other students that have been playing a little bit longer. Some of the schools that we compete against only have mariachi programs. So that means they're not learning anything but a violin, anything but a guitar or a guitarrón. These kids here are playing their own instrument, and then they're playing these instruments. So this is their secondary instrument. One thing that we do tell them is know your secondary instrument as good, or if not better, than what your first instrument is. These are some of the best students that we have in band. They go above and beyond by actually making these competitions and excelling, I should say. So yeah, that's what these are. Now, the 8th graders, of course, last year, raise your hand if you made it to region band as well. These are all the 8th graders, yeah. And we did have an alternate, right? We were an alternate?
No.
Last year, right?
Oh, last year, yes.
Yeah.
Last year.
So he was an alternate. That means he was just right above there, and he was just about to get into the region mariachi, but this year he made it. So yeah, we're very proud of him.
Would you guys like to hear some music?
Awesome.
This is I'm Camilo Salinas. I'm the director of these students here at the middle school, Mariachi Los Guerreros, and we're gonna play for you guys Cielito Lindo in the voice of Gabriel Arias.
daughter, now we have the high school.
Well, before they go, I'm super impressed because so I was in band 6th grade to 12th grade. Miss Vega here taught me trombone and played it for 6 years, and I sucked like really bad. And like I think senior year I got a 4 in region, like on my piece, which is really bad, right? You want ones. So I can't even think of like doing another instrument and then placing. That's amazing. Wow.
Great job.
They're next on the agenda, so we'll do it in a minute. Okay. You want to switch your bands out real quick?
Yes.
While you can do your thing real quick.
Okay, so we also brought our officers from NHS who have a few words they'd like to say. I think our president appointed somebody to speak. So if you want to do that while we transition out, that would be great.
I'm honored that my fellow National Honor Society members have asked me to speak today. I want to thank the board for all that y'all do on behalf of the Tolosa Midway National Honor Society. We would like to express our gratitude and to let y'all know that y'all's efforts do not go unnoticed, and y'all's dedication and commitment to our Tolosa Midway community is greatly appreciated. We hope we can continue to make you all proud by our acts of service and our commitment to giving a helping hand to everyone around us. Thank you.
These are some of our best and brightest. Yep. And now we'll move on to some other best and brightest.
Okay, so this is the mariachi. This is Mariachi Tierra Mia. It's from the high school. Of course, 9th through 12th graders. Now, here's the thing: is that we have only one freshman that actually made the region band this year, or the region mariachi band, and then the rest of them are juniors and seniors, sophomores, juniors, and seniors. These guys, there is a juniors and seniors. This class here has brought me so much joy because I actually started each one of them. And it's going to be hard to actually say bye to them at the end of this year because each one of them has excelled in instrument playing. They are, if I needed to start another group with outside on the outside, I would definitely ask each one of these students to play outside, so they could entertain, at a restaurant or at a concert or wherever it was. These are genuinely good musicians, and I say they're musicians because they actually make music when they play. We're gonna play La Negra right now. This is very traditional in Mexico. This would be like their Mexican national anthem. It stands right next to it. So La Negra. I'm gonna, if you indulge me, I'm gonna play trumpet with them also. Very good.
administrators, to Mr. Van Matry and administrative staff. And I think I can speak for all the board members when I say the favorite part of our board meetings are when the students are here and we're getting to recognize y'all, because the reason we sit here is for each one of y'all. So we love to see your smiling faces. So even if we're not recognizing you, please, you're welcome anytime to come into the boardroom and speak if you need to also. So we appreciate y'all. Y'all are the reason that we sit here. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we are going to recognize our regional mariachi recipients, correct?
Yes.
Correct. Ms. Bud? Congratulations. Here, I get Great job.
All right, so I'm gonna call you out. I'm gonna go down this way, okay? We're gonna start with you
Okay,
first.
Chrissy, talk to me how we're doing this.
Okay, so he is going to read the names of the students, and you and Ms. Boone will hand the student their certificate. At the end, we'll take a large group picture.
And then
Okay.
they'll go around and shake the.
We'll bring the board members up here. Yes, ma'am.
I'm just gonna call out your names.
You're gonna read the name and give me
Yes. Mari Carmen de la Rosa.
Can everyone say what their primary instrument is?
Sure, yeah. Your primary instrument.
Clarinet.
Okay.
By the way, she is also a second-year All-Stater.
Oh, wow.
Dante Gomez.
Oh, really?
And the instrument that you play.
What instrument?
Alto sax.
Oh, awesome. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Jonathan Lichtenberg.
Primary instrument.
Congratulations.
Proud of it. Thank you, sir.
Brian Garza.
And your primary instrument is?
Bassoon.
All right.
Oh, wow.
Congratulations.
How many bassoon players do you have?
At the high school, we have 2.
Okay.
Yair Cruz.
Congratulations. What's your primary instrument? Tuba.
Congratulations.
And this is Brian Cruz.
Congratulations. What's your primary instrument?
Everybody told you you have a great smile.
Hannah Phillips.
Congratulations. And what's your primary instrument? Flute. Thank you.
Angelina Palacios.
Congratulations. And what's your primary instrument? Flute.
Angelina, congratulations.
And Nicholas Ramos.
Congratulations. And what's your instrument?
Baritone.
Congratulations.
Now, we did have 3 other students that weren't able to come in today. Diego Cantu. We also had Andrea Rodriguez, and last Alexis Guevara. And it was just they weren't able to be here this afternoon. So I'll make sure to get that to them.
Chrissy, are we gonna move this so that the board can
Yes,
see
sir.
the picture?
They're gonna scoot back. Yes, so are you ready? We're done?
Well, aren't we gonna take this one?
Yes.
And then the middle school
Yes.
separate with the board in them?
Yes.
Okay, so what?
Okay,
what do you
don't
want us
move
to
yet.
do?
Let me go through. Let me see your
Does this stay here?
yes, we're gonna move these tables out.
I don't know.
Let them go through and then you're gonna push it out.
So it's easier for like one-way to read,
Okay,
like violin?
high school group, if you could come up here and we could get a picture of you and the board.
I'm like really short.
Come on and let's start making.
Patrick, we need to build something for Candy, Jane, and
Just stand on.
stand on.
Kids are taller
Oh,
than the board
and
members.
Denise.
Board members up front and kind of weave them in between. Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, stand right there. You guys are tall.
Yeah, y'all be in the center and we'll be on the sides.
Come on, can we shoot us please over here? Are we good? Do we have everybody in there? Dr. White?
I believe so.
Okay.
I'm right here. Rachel, are you gonna photobomb it, huh?
I'll just-
You're good.
1, 2, 3. Excellent.
Okay, she
All right.
Oh, yes.
Congratulations to all of you.
Congratulations.
Yeah, y'all can go to sleep too, right? Or is Regent Band the end of it?
No, that was Ariel.
That was it? Okay.
Why don't y'all just stay here?
I will say take a picture first and then you'll look.
Oh, well, you can shake your hands and give me your certificate, that way you all get
Yeah.
involved.
I don't know about Denise.
I'm 4'10" and a half, and I wear these like extra soles, so I'm like 5.
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and let Mr. Salinas go ahead and present these, since he is the one that's in charge of the middle
Sure.
school.
Primary instruments.
Yeah, make sure.
Their primary instruments.
Yes.
Alrighty. Right next to me.
Man, I wrote something.
It's just fast.
Okay.
Okay, all right.
I'm on Leo's
The
down
cup
here.
and the mug.
Leo, that's your stuff. That's your.
That's fine.
Thank you guys again for having us. I hope you guys enjoyed our music. We're very proud of these students. We have about 25 students in our mariachi class, and 10 of them made it. That's almost half of our entire class that made earned a chair in the Region Mariachi. The first person we're gonna start with is Dax Petrie on violin.
Your primary instrument.
Primary instrument.
What is that?
Trumpet.
No, you just Arabella Rodriguez.
Congratulations.
Your primary instrument?
The flute. Y'all are so nervous. Why?
I didn't even know we had to say it.
On vihuela, we had Rashawn Clay. Your primary instrument?
Baritone.
I gotta go do some research. I'm not a band person. Figure out what baritone's on.
On guitar, Jeremiah Narvaez. There you go, sir. Primary instrument?
I see a common theme here.
On violin, Deandra Montelongo. Primary instrument? Clarinet. On violin, Christine Fon. Primary instrument? There's some on guitarrón, Jordan Garcia. Primary instrument. Trumpet. Ramiro Lasso on guitar. Primary instrument.
Primary instrument was trombone.
Trombone, yes! Yeah, I guess.
On trumpet and voice as well, Mr. Gabriel Arias. Primary instrument. Trumpet.
Do you know Spanish or you learned Spanish for the song?
I learned Spanish.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so they had the opportunity to try out not only on their instrument, they could also do vocal audition. And we did both, he did both, and he made, you got first chair on the vocal major, on the vocal, and second chair on the trumpet.
Wow.
Audition. Yes. Congratulations.
Tell them what else you play.
I also play the piano.
Yeah.
And our last student, Noah Vasquez on vihuela. Primary instrument, trumpet. Thank you all again so much for having us.
Thank you for what you do.
Congratulations. Good job,
My husband. Y'all keep going. I promise he doesn't bite over there.
Mr. Benavides, can I get you to scoot up just a little bit? Sure. There you go, right in that window. And let's see. Everybody, Here we go.
1, 2, and 3. Awesome.
I want to see how far those chairs go back. Y'all are going pretty far back. Congratulations, y'all. We're so proud of y'all. Keep it up, keep it up. He's got a lot of years. A lot more places you can get.
Okay, we're gonna move back for you.
I came out this way. What's going on here?
Thank y'all for all your hard work and stay rested.
All right, there you go.
Great job.
Thank you so much. Congratulations. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate the recognition. Yes. Doing better. Doing better. So yeah. We're good. Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir, thank you. We appreciate it. You did an amazing job.
Thank you.
I'll let you know.
All right. The first thing on discussion for tonight is the security audit.
Madam President, members of the board, I'm going to read to you a broad assessment of the objective of the new state security audits and a broad finding. More specific findings will be given to you by the security team of Mr. Hernandez and his staff. The top priority of Tolosa Midway ISD and the state of Texas is keeping students and staff safe every day. The Texas School Safety Center recently conducted an intruder detection audit at one or more of our campuses. The audits test whether a campus is accessible to an unauthorized individual. This audit, conducted as part of Governor Abbott's school safety directives for all school systems following the tragedy in Uvalde, seeks to help districts identify how campuses can improve safety for students, such as ensuring exterior doors are locked. The audit provides us with an opportunity to create a safer learning environment for our students and staff. We work closely with our district school safety and security committee to ensure that we are training all our staff and securing our doors for the protection of everyone at our campuses. The support from the state in conducting the intruder detection audits is just one of the many actions we are taking to ensure our schools are safe. We know that this work does not end, and we appreciate the board's support. We acknowledge that parents and community members are likely very interested in the details of the audit results. However, it is in the best interest of the students that we do not share this information to the broader public, as it could lead to compromising important campus security information. Specific details of the intruder detection audit will be discussed in the executive session and with the Safety and Security Committee. Tolosa Midway ISD is committed to providing a safe and secure learning environment. On December 2nd, 2022, an audit was generated at Tolosa Midway ISD. Phase 1, do you have corrective actions for phase 1? The answer is no. Were the audit able to gain unsecured, unauthorized access to the campus? The answer is no. If we were able to gain access to the campus, what was our entry point? They were not able to gain access. Upon entering the front office, were we required to do any of the following? Required to present identification. Personal identification was checked against an electronic database, and they were provided with a visitor's badge. Phase 2, the exterior door audit. Do you have a correction action plan for phase 2? Yes. The campus had one or more exterior doors that were not closed properly and locked. As a result of this finding, the District School Safety and Security Committee is required to meet and develop a plan to immediately train all campus staff and substitutes at the campus identified above that all exterior doors must be closed and properly locked. An in-person training must be conducted to review the findings of the intruder detection audit and allow for staff to give feedback on how to improve school safety procedures around closing and properly locking exterior doors. This training must take place no later than 45 business days from the date of the initial notification. In addition, the District School Safety and Security Committee must develop a plan of action to address any findings that doors are broken and do not secure if indicated by the findings. All these corrective actions must be completed no later than 45 business days from the date of the initial notification. Certification that these actions have taken place must be submitted to the Texas School Safety Center within this same time frame. A copy of this agenda from the school board meeting that reflect a summary of findings from the intruder detection audit was presented. Were all exterior secondary doors closed and properly locked? No. What was the total number of doors that were propped open? 0. What was the total number of doors that were unlocked? 2. What was the total number of doors that were broken? 0. What was the total number of doors that were improperly secured? 0. Were any items observed near exterior doors that could be used to prop a door open? No. Phase 3, classroom door audit. Do you have a correction action plan for phase 3? No. Were there corrective actions necessary? No. Does the district have a policy or written administrative directive to close and lock classroom doors? No. In a random sample of classroom doors, were all doors closed? Yes. In a random sample of classroom doors, were all doors locked? Yes. Weekly exterior sweep audits. Do you have a corrective action plan for weekly exterior door sweeps? No. There were no corrective actions identified. Was documentation of weekly exterior door sweeps observed? Yes. That is the presentation in open session, and then in closed session, we will be much more specific. Okay?
Thank you, Mr. Banerjee. Any questions?
I guess, can you say how the state's audit system has changed over the years? Or is this like typical, or is this
the first one?
the first one, right? Okay.
Okay?
Any further discussion?
And this was a report only, no board action needed.
Next, we have on the agenda number 2, it's a report, update regarding athletic facility construction project.
Can you pass this around? And Ms. Castillo, are you gonna?
Yep,
put
Philip.
this up? This represents a handout of the presentation that I'm going to make. If you will recall, on July the 11th, the board delegated to the superintendent to negotiate a contract not to exceed $5.5 million for athletic improvements. Subsequently, there was a budget amendment that was approved for $5.5 million. The initial contract for the work at Warrior Stadium, the football field conversion from grass to artificial turf, the track and field events resurfaced, the track perimeter and stadium perimeter new fencing. There'll be a new press box, a double deck with canopy. There will be bleacher improvements, particularly on the ends, so wheelchair access. We have a new scoreboard and video and field time clocks. And then there's new lighting that will be placed, LED lighting. The timeline for substantial completion is April the 15th, 2023. Once the work was started, it was realized that the handrail addition that was going to be placed on both sides of the field would make it too narrow once they were installed for people to go up and down the bleachers. So what you see there is a credit of $18,475. Then, in collaboration with the athletic director and head coaches of swimming, tennis, baseball, and softball, with the funds that were remaining, they have decided to make a recommendation for the baseball, softball, halo turf replacement. And if you will scroll down, there is a picture and it's also in your hand. Oh, that's if you'll leave it right there, that's what the football field will look like. I don't know if any of you have seen this, but it's alternating colors. We'll have the TM logo at the 50-yard line, and then we will proudly display Tuloso Midway in the end zone.
Are there going to be turf ads on the end zone?
I'm sorry?
Like turf ads on the end zone? Not the end zones, the sidelines?
I don't know what that is. Turf ads.
Commercials? Advertisement, no.
No. The second picture is, I think that's Paul, is that baseball or softball?
That looks like baseball.
You see what that current halo looks like now? There's also somewhat of a safety issue. You can't tell it in this picture, but there's a lip around the dirt behind home plate. And so if you'll scroll up, Philip, that's what the halos are gonna look like when installed. Obviously, Warriors on the baseball side and Cherokees on, hopefully we don't make a mistake. That would not be good for my next evaluation. The next item is of great interest to our coaches, and it doesn't really give it justice, but we're adding a significant hitting areas for concrete and into netting at both the softball and the baseball facilities. We'll probably have at least 5 hitting stations going so that more kids can. I'm not a baseball coach, I'm not a softball coach, but Coach Daly, Coach O'Neill, this is what they really want. Is that fair to say?
One of the things I asked Coach Moody coming in that we would have more baseball teams, and at this point he does. And in order to, and that's what we want greater participation, safety, and better baseball players. And that's what this does. It allows, I mean, most people are probably baseball, we love baseball down here. It allows him to run almost 30 kids at one time. And that's enormous when you're talking about, you know, how much repetition it takes to be good in South Texas. I mean, we know what it takes to be here. Softball had something that was not great, but we were gonna make that the same there. We like our softball.
So you can see what currently softball has, if you could scroll that up just a little bit, Philip. It doesn't look like what we want things to look like. And you know, this is a $88,000 expenditure that the coaches think is gonna pay dividends for our student athletes. Then there's the flagpole replacement of $26,324. So those expenditures leave about $245,000 left for natatorium issues as well as tennis. I spent a good hour and a half with some UIL officials Saturday morning in the natatorium. And they had some really strong historical data for me regarding the natatorium. I was unaware that TM had the first indoor pool, and that at that time, everybody used it. Is that correct? It was used for regions, everything. And what they told me was that it was, I don't know, I'm not a rancher, so I'm not familiar with this term, that it was ran hard and put up wet. But I don't think that's a good term. That was the term they used for the rode hard and put up wet. That's what it was. I knew it didn't sound right. Rode hard and put up wet. And so with some funding, we can perhaps extend it. We don't have money for AC, but I was not aware that the reason you swim inside is so you can swim when it's lightning and thundering. but we don't have proper grounding. We use what they call temporary grounding. And if you go in the natatorium, as many of you do, some of you have kids, you see those those green wires that are wrapped around the poles. That's the temporary grounding for lightning protection. That makes me uncomfortable.
We don't have a grounding bed?
I'm not familiar with what that is. I'm giving you information, what was told to me by the people who know. We need some new diving boards, and we've purchased some touch pads. And Patrick, we don't know if they're going to get in here in time for district or not.
The last email said they will not. They will not arrive until about the first or second week of February.
That's disappointing. And then tennis, we have really good tennis facilities, but the tennis coach, and I've heard from his parents, really needs some shade. Now, unless there's other, really the athletic department making these recommendations for how they want to see these funds allocated outside of Warrior. I know that there's a need for the other weight room. But what I will do is I will follow their lead and prioritize from the head coaches based on the we don't have all the money in the world, but I'd like to use it as smart as we can. And so this is the update that I wanted you to have. I know that bottom picture looks different now. What they did, and they were in the process of doing that, is they took about 12 feet of dirt out of the field, and then they put some select fill in, and then they're packing it down so that it won't move. We don't have really good soil, so that it's not going to move on us. Then you'll see rocks everywhere on that field, and they'll pack it down, and then you'll start seeing it turn green. I am under the assumption, and Philip and I have had these conversations, that if the work is done by Hellas, which is a buy-board vendor, and you have authorized the limit of 5.5 million, that we don't have to seek board approval for every change order unless it goes outside that limit and vendor. So that's why with these change orders, you haven't seen an agenda item for approval. Philip, do you have any comment on that from a business perspective, purchasing?
No, other than we're in compliance with the purchasing laws and rules.
Any questions?
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
On the natatorium, you've already quickly stated we don't have money for the AC unit in there because it's hot. It's been hot forever. Is there anything, Patrick, that can be done with even a better ventilation of fans that maybe could be installed a little bit higher to get rid of some of that heat in there, or?
Well, Mr. Benavides, I'll tell you, it's a priority to do something, because the only way we can stand to be in that facility when it's hot is to raise those bays. And as Mr. Alvarado has pointed out, that's a security issue. So we're gonna have to do something.
Yeah.
But I don't know what.
Yeah.
Well,
most natatoriums in the area, like Flower Bluff and stuff, they have the open bays. Even the CCISD, even the natatorium, they open the bays when there's a meet. Yeah, I agree with you. It's not real good for safety.
No.
Especially during the day when they have day
If we
meets.
continue with that, we're gonna have to do something with fencing.
It's gonna require 8-foot fencing, and I should have the quotes tomorrow to begin that fencing.
I just, even with those doors open, it's hot in there. And Jane, I mean, we've been going to the meets for years, or at least I know I have. And this year's probably the one year I've laxed a little bit, but man, you walk in there and it's hot. Yeah, so I'm just thinking maybe some kind of ventilation to take some of that heat out, even if we don't have air.
When we did the $2.2 million renovation, they put in the 2 exhaust fans, but that's not enough. It needs much more.
What year was that, Patrick?
15, 16, somewhere in there. 14 or 15. I'd have to go look at the plaque.
It also has a terrible sound system.
Bad.
You can't understand what they're saying at all. The scoreboard and the timing
Can't read it.
system.
Can't read it.
So, Coach O'Neill and Coach Alanis will really be the ones that will make the ultimate recommendations. But, depending on the pricing of the tennis, I worry, let me tell you what my worry is. I worry that what tennis wants is out of our price range, and for equity purposes, because their courts and everything about the tennis is really good, really nice. We may have to make a tough decision. We may, I'm not saying we are, but we may need to take all of that and put it into the natatorium.
So I
No
have
comment.
I have one question on the flagpoles. Is there no way to attach flags to the top of the scoreboard?
Not that I'm aware of.
Could we look in it? Because $26,000 to put 2 flagpoles, that's a lot of money we could use somewhere else. Right, we can, because I'm sure there's access to the top of the scoreboard somehow, through a ladder system. If they ever have to do repairs, how are they gonna do repairs?
We have to bring in a lift.
It is the tradition of the football team when they went to raise the victory flags.
Right, yeah.
That-
And
that
I'm all for
tradition.
that. I think that's a great thing, but that's one flagpole, right? So that's $13,000 as opposed to, do you display the flags on the scoreboard itself? Right? I'm patriot as anybody else, but we're in a school district. Do we display the American flag on the scoreboard while we're doing the national anthem? And we have our flagpole to raise a flag when we win and all that, but we save $15,000 by doing one flagpole to another, and we take that $15,000 and put it into the natatorium or into the tennis. So, just some thoughts.
I have a question, Mr. Van Ness, going back to the natatorium. And I don't know if this is correct or anything. Are you aware that there have been problems with the heat pump in the
No.
swimming pool?
No.
I don't know if that's a fact.
Yeah,
That's
it is a
correct.
fact.
Yes,
It is a
it's
fact.
correct.
We've
Okay.
had our kids go in there in cold water
Yes, and I'm saying.
throughout the years.
Yes.
That's
there-
the first I've heard of that.
Well, and we have this district coming up in 2 weeks.
How is it now?
The heater is working now.
It is
Two
working?
2 or 3 weeks ago, we had an issue with the circulation pump,
Mhm.
but it's been replaced and we're ready for district.
Great.
And throughout the past, it's been where it's,
Yeah.
they go in there and it's cold.
It's
I was told today, we had some discussion at the high school about the pool, that they were having an activity, a family pool night, and so when the staff went in there, there was furniture in the pool and the water was green. I don't know, having a pool, outdoor pool, I can understand
Yeah.
the water being green, I get that, but I don't understand why furniture was in the pool, but interesting.
On another note, just something else to add to that. These kids are practicing at 5:30 in the morning. That water is very cold. All right?
When is it heated?
It's constant. It doesn't. When the heat pump is running, it's constant temperature.
Is the heat
No,
pump
I-
not turned on?
Well, I do know that they like to keep it at a certain temperature, because once those kids start with their workout, and I'm not
They get
saying
hot.
cold water, but they start sweating and stuff. So I do know that in the past, that the water has been kept at a certain temperature due to those kids overheating if the water was too hot.
I believe it's
So what
78.
we think would be like really warm water to swim in is probably not what the swimmers would want to be doing their workout in.
I've learned through the past few years, Coach Alanis knows what she's doing. She's tough. And
Had a successful program for a long
she's
time.
got a successful program. I don't agree with everything she does, but she gets it done. And, you know, she wants it at a certain temperature, but I know the one thing I know about Coach Alanis, she doesn't complain. And that's where if the pump's not working, she needs to tell somebody, or, because, my kid's in there and freezing,
No,
but-
she's quick to notify us.
Okay.
We got a new heater about 3 years ago, and we really haven't had too many problems until recently. During the cold snap, the gas supply flow lowered, and it kicked the
things
pump
really
off,
happen, yeah.
and then we had the pump go out.
The one thing I did notice about our pool, and I almost tapped Jamie, but I said, you know what, there's a lot of other people there. There's a lot of rust. I don't know if you saw it while you're sitting there
Yes, it
in the
is.
little lap pool that they use. That whole thing has a lot of rust on it, and it just doesn't look good. When we have
The bulkhead.
the backside of the bulkhead, yeah. And it's just there's a lot of, for some reason, I don't know what the metal's for there, but maybe but that grill plate that's there.
It's for them to kick off, and we've looked at replacing it, but it's
No,
almost
it's
a.
on the inside
Oh.
of the little pool, on the warm up pool.
Okay. It's the same size. We looked at replacing it, like Flower Bluff when they did theirs. They
Yeah.
installed the bulkhead and it's fiberglass, but we're looking at almost $200,000.
On another note, I know the community has seen all the dirt that's going up behind the tennis courts. You want to tell everybody what that's for?
We used to have a running mound. It's a dual purpose. It's a running mound, and it also serves as a windbreak for the tennis court.
Is it just the excess dirt that's coming out of the?
Yes, everything that's coming out from there. We're building up the running mound. It's a running mound. It's spectators will be able to take a blanket and watch the tennis matches from there, and it's a wind block.
Awesome. I just wanted to make sure the community knew why we were stacking all the dirt right
They
there.
ask me every day. I don't know. It's a bunch of trucks going on.
Used to have
Yeah.
one on the west end.
Yeah, we used to run it all the time.
The one last thing I'll say is, and when my son was going through the Junior League World Series, we went to a facility where they had tennis courts and they had shade set up, and on top of the shade they had solar panels, right? So it served a dual purpose. So first, can we look into that? I know we're limited budget. That sounds like really expensive, but also, is there an energy company that's willing to pay for it and get free sponsorship out of it? A solar company. I mean, they're trying to sell me solar every day at my house, right? If you put this in the school district and we're putting up 2 canopies there on the west end or whatever, by the outhouse they have there, the little field house they have. It's just something, because we got to get creative. We don't have a lot of money, and we're trying to get creative. If we tell them, you can put your solar panels, you can put your advertisement all over it, and that solar power generates the lights for the tennis court. It's also saving us cost and electricity, right? Minimal, but still saving. So, just something to think about. Instead of just going and putting the canopy and walking away.
Great discussion.
Go ahead.
All right. All right, moving on to number 3, discuss and consider first reading of TMISD board operating procedures.
Madam President, members of the board, you currently have old, somewhat outdated board operating procedures. We, in July, we sent your current operating procedures to our general counsel, and this is what they brought back for your review and consideration. In visiting with Ms. Boone, we both felt that this was a lot to digest and vote on at the same time. So, correct me if I'm wrong, what the plan would be is for you to take this and review it, and then we will put it back on the February 13th regular board meeting for editing consideration, approval, whatever your choice may be. Is that
That's
fair to
what
say?
we discussed. So this is the first reading, I mean.
I would agree, because it is rather lengthy compared to what we had before, but it does cover all the necessary things, and it's just like any organization, especially governing body corporate, needs to have some kind of guidelines.
Is this a revision?
Yes.
It is a revision, okay.
And we have the, I guess, edited copy that shows what's removed, what's added, what's changed.
Do we have that?
We have the old board procedures, but it's not, I'll get you a copy.
I guess I have the old and the new. Can I
Okay.
have a merged one? Do you have a merged one?
There, I do not have a merged one.
I
I
don't think I
sent
have
him, right, I sent him the old version. He sent us this.
You know what, but we can ask. He may have that saved.
We'll need that to go to all board members.
Yeah, will you see if Mr. Cruz has it?
I'm gonna message him right now.
I will say it covers everything in the old ones, but expands upon and puts a little more explanation in it.
Any further discussion?
I'm gonna have a lot of edits, but that's a February meeting item, or how should I send my red line for discussion? Workshop or what, how?
So as you edit it, you're gonna start getting the, what's the name of what I send out on Fridays that I haven't sent out?
Board connection.
The connection. We'll put that in the connection for information. Okay?
So she needs to send them to me.
Can we do revisions to this?
Yes, it's your
Oh, yeah,
document.
it's our document.
May I ask who compiled this?
Legal.
Legal.
So, any revisions we would review with legal to make sure that we were in compliance. I'm fairly certain in your current board operating procedures, there's things that we're not in compliance.
Yeah.
So that's what we'll do.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Is there any items that we're adding to the
There's a lot, yeah.
board procedure, I mean, the board policy?
There is nothing that I've asked to be added. The only thing that has been added, and I haven't reviewed it word for word, is the recommendations of legal.
You're gonna get a copy of the current board policies identified by this.
Mhm.
Is that this one?
This is the new one.
Okay.
Yes.
This is the new.
This is the new version.
Revised.
So this is a first reading only, there's no board action needed. We're gonna bring it back in February and everybody, be looking at your board connection for any revisions that will be coming through.
What I do like about that, giving it to us this month, is we have the whole month to do it.
Yes, sir.
Unlike the form for the evaluation that was given to us last week. You know, like
Well,
you
that's
said in
not-
your.
That's not necessarily accurate.
Well, can I address, in your response to the board trustees, you said we've been talking about this for months. So in saying that, just like we're doing now, then we should have been given a form a good month ago, so that we could have, taken our time and get it done. That's just my opinion.
And moving
on it.
forward, we can do that.
Exactly. That's what I like about this, give me a whole month to do it.
The instrument that you're gonna use tonight was approved, and it hadn't been changed at all since I've been here. I don't know exactly what month that was. Mr. Mostella, you may recall when the instrument for the formative evaluation was,
Well, I don't remember that.
it wasn't that long ago, because I wasn't been here 7 months.
Well, I've been here 2 years and I haven't done an evaluation on any superintendent, so that's what I'm just saying.
Well, Texas Education Code requires any public school employee to be evaluated or they can't be paid.
Well, I'm just saying, I've been here 2 years and we haven't done that for the interim, well, for the superintendent, the interim, and now, of course, we're gonna be on track for years, but, you know.
Annually, we didn't have one state that long.
Well, it's annually, but the right thing to do and board policy is to do two. And this is gonna be the first one of the two.
One's informative
Good.
and one's summative.
So we are moving in the right direction.
Yes.
All right, number 4 is to discuss and consider first reading of DEC local.
Madam President, members of the board, I had a conversation with Ms. Elizondo a few weeks ago regarding really questioning why the district did not have a sick pool bank where employees that were suffering a health catastrophic illness and we as fellow employees couldn't donate or have the opportunity to donate some of our local days to help people get through and pay the light bill. And she told me that we did have one, but then there was some issues of misuse and it went away. I asked her if we could bring that back to the board for you to reconsider having that as an additional benefit for our employees. So I'm gonna turn that over to Ms. Elizondo because I sit in on her committee meeting this morning and it was rich with discussion.
Sure. Like you said, we had it before in 2012, 2013, for about 2018, 2019. But we had a high employee absentee problem and the superintendent felt that maybe we didn't need this because people were taking their days. And then when they ran into a catastrophic illness or injury, then they knew they could fall back on this. And there was a couple of employees who we used it for, and the following year they got 10 days, and then they went to concerts with. So that caused some problems. But I think that there is a need, and we are seeing more and more catastrophic illnesses, especially with mental health issues that COVID has brought forward. Not that they haven't been there, but I think that they've been brought forward with COVID. And we discussed it with the principals and the assistant principals, and everybody felt the need that this was something that we could do to help our employee staff to be employee friendly, and also it would be a recruiting avenue also, so they can say, hey, we do this and we do that, and this would be one of the things that would help everybody. And they said, if we have our local days, we should be able to do that. So I talked to TASB, and we brought all the revisions back. I think they're on page 4. And basically, in a nutshell, this is for an employee, an employee's spouse, or an employee's child who is suffering from a catastrophic illness or a catastrophic injury, and the employee has exhausted all leave. They have nothing. So then we would establish procedures where an employee could request the establishment of a sick leave pool and provide medical certification. We would establish the pool and the staff members could contribute. And then we also says in here that the superintendent will be responsible for overseeing the procedure. So we had a committee meeting this morning, and in the committee meeting, I think Ms. Vegas, one of our members, who I invited to the assistant principals who are responsible for our substitute and who work with our teachers who are absent, because I thought they would know they would provide some good information. That committee will also be the same committee who will be reviewing the requests when they come in. And we will put in place a very detailed medical certification so that we don't have to make the tough decisions. It's already there. We just say yay or we say nay. What we also discussed this morning was how many days can an employee contribute to the school? It was decided that you could contribute 2 days per sick leave pool for 4 days a year. You can only do it twice. Because we also have to protect the employees who, if you make, you know, you have a sad situation, it tugs at your heart, you wanna give everything you've got, but you may need it later on. So we're protecting the employee, we're helping out the employee who needs the help, and we're also protecting the district. And it's something that we think is very, very good. And this came up as an employee's request due to a situation. All the administrators are in the agreement.
And what is the maximum days that they could?
30. We decided on 30, and we used to have 20. But some people said 60, some people said 20. So what I did is I took a survey of the surrounding area school districts. Somebody had 90, somebody had 60, and we had 20. So what I did is I took out the highest and I took out the lowest, averaged all the rest, and it came out to 29. In talking to TASB, they said statewide, that is the average, 30 days. And the committee agreed. And everything will be done through committee, because medical situations, it is very, very difficult to deal with. But that's what we think is needed for our school district, and that is what we're recommending.
And may I ask you, when the sick pool was in effect before, what was the maximum days that an employee could contribute to the sick pool?
2
I don't remember.
per event, but a total of 3. So if we had 2 sick leave pools, and you wanted to do 2 for one, a sick leave pool, and then you had 1. So it was always monitored. Now it's 2 and 2, or one for 4. And I would say probably right now, I would venture to say we probably would have maybe 2 or 3 employees who would have benefited from this situation right now.
How many employees do you have go over 30 days that would need more than 30 days? I
But
can
we
think
have-
of one. So I guess my question leading to is why cap it? Why do we want to police the cap? If you have an employee that needs 45 days, why do we want to put cap at 30?
Because it's also costing the school district money, so we have to protect it, and it's also to try to help the employee. Right now, we have a program where every employee gets 10 days. A professional employee, a clerical, paraprofessional, they'll get 5 state and 5 local. So when they use that, then we also have another program, it's called Extended Sick Leave Program. And the Extended Sick Leave Program, you'll get 5 days after your first year that you've been here. You can add 5 days up to 30 days. So we have that in place already. And during the Extended Leave Sick Programs, Extended Sick Leave Program, that's also for catastrophic illness, catastrophic injuries. And you don't have to have any days, but we're gonna take the cost of the substitute. You get the rest of the money. So we've already had that in place before this one goes into place. So if you have an employee who's got 30 days and we give them 30 more, that's 60 days. And you have to think that 20 days is about a month of work.
Right.
So that's what we.
So that's
we
3
came up
months
with.
of work. Okay, just seems like, I don't know why we would wanna cap it. I don't, me personally, I mean, if their coworkers wanna give them, let them give it. I mean, we don't know, catastrophic sounds like more than, you know, it sounds like more than 3 months, that's cancer treatment, but you're going through chemotherapy, you know, you're doing heavy stuff. And I guess y'all, like you said, you have a committee that they don't just get to call and say, I'm having catastrophic outage, so you just say, I mean, they have to show you proof?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's just my opinion, I don't know why we would cap it. I think it's a benefit, and if we're gonna sell it as a benefit for our teachers, it's, look, as much as you can get, but the other people have to be willing to give it to you, of course, right? But if it's if that's the average, then that's the average.
I was glad to see it come back.
Me
Yes.
too. I think it was me.
It was
It's
very,
pro-employee.
it was very fortunate when we brought the recommendation to get rid of it, because it was a beneficial program for people at the time. It's just unfortunate that some people, yeah.
But it also benefited a lot of others.
Yes.
So this is first reading. Any other questions?
I mean, I'm okay passing it now, that's like illegal, or? Okay, 2 readings.
2 readings.
That's like a law?
Well, it's policy.
regardless.
You'd have to change policy.
What's local policy?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So that's first reading, no board action needed. Next is number 5, discuss and consider second reading of TASB policy update.
Madam President, members of the board, Dr. White presented first reading last month on the DOI policy updates. This is second reading and it's an action item. Dr. White?
Yes, sir. Board of Trustees, this is an opportunity for you all to take action on updating policy. Working with our legal counsel, it was important for us to, like I said before at the last meeting, during the first reading, was to align our local policies that were impacted by the creation of the District Innovation Plan. And as such, what we have done is put forth revisions and one addition, which you'll find on the AF local, which is just to announce that as a district, we do have a DOI plan in place. And therefore, every policy that follows is just updated to, again, match our DOI plan. And so this is just to keep us into compliance. Like I said, the review by legal, this is what they have brought forth as their recommendation. Therefore, we're just bringing it to you all for your consideration and approval. Are there any questions?
I have a question on the, I'm sorry.
Go.
I have a question on, I was particularly interested in the attendance for credit.
Okay.
So that, the 90% attendance rule, it does not apply to the DOI.
Correct.
Okay,
It allows us
so-
to opt out of it. However, it doesn't necessarily mean we can't follow it.
Mhm.
It just gives us that option to, in an extenuating circumstance or a student who we know would not be able to meet that expectation through the attendance, we can turn elsewhere to mastery of learning, which again is the end result of anything that we do with our students achievement-wise, is to look at the mastery of learning. That's what the policy revision allows us to do.
Is
To
there,
help those
is there a time limit for that?
Not per se. It really is based on like the calendar year or the academic year. And as such, the committee that would be put together at the high school, they would be kind of putting together that plan for that student. And so one of those components would be that, developing a timeline, a schedule.
I had a lot of edits.
Okay.
So first, if all of the links take you like directly just to TM website, if they could take you to the actual innovation policy, that'd be awesome. That's just on all of them.
That's just a hyperlink
Yeah,
fix.
yeah.
That's not necessarily a revision, but we can make that change.
So AF local, cool with that one. DBA, I really didn't like in addition, the superintendent shall have the authority to identify additional teaching areas for which the state certification will not be required. I would like to remove that completely. Because above that it says all CTE stuff, and then it says, and any other courses. And I don't want someone down the line to take advantage and do a core course. And then also on DBA, adding, again, how our district innovation policy, it
Okay.
talked.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, I had a thought, but go ahead.
No, I have all my stuff written down, so you could look.
Okay, I'm going back to, you said the first comment about removing the superintendent's authority?
In addition, the sentence is, in addition, the superintendent shall have authority to identify additional teaching areas for which the state certification will not be required. So I
Okay.
just don't want it to extend to more courses outside of CTE, which could be core courses. Because that's how the language has it.
That's kind of what we have now, though. That, like I said, the policy revisions have all been made to match what our plan has been kind of written to say.
The DOI.
So what you're reading now is just policy, like wording, based on what you would find in the
didn't say
DOI
that
plan.
though.
What do you mean?
CTE courses.
Correct. That's one component of the flexibility within the teaching assignment. And that's kind of what was built around the DOI plan, was the need for CTE, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that is like limited to CTE. It can go, it also speaks to critical high needs areas where if we're not able to find a teacher, and again, those critical shortage areas are provided to us by the state. And so that wouldn't be necessarily the superintendent, or the superintendent's designee going outside their authority. It's based on what the TA says of the critical shortage areas is for that year. That allows us that flexibility to then say, well, we're having that problem too. Then we can explore various options, not just limiting ourselves to, you know, traditional certified teachers. But that's one of those, it comes down to that, we go through that process, and then of course, recommendations brought for you all to review too. So you're not removed from the process. It just allows us to expand our net, to cast a wider net, to bring a candidate to you all. Whereas before, if we didn't have the DOI plan, we wouldn't be able to bring anybody to you.
That could easily come into play with Spanish.
Exactly.
It's
a critical shortage.
You wouldn't think that it would be difficult to find a credentialed Spanish teacher, but it is.
It's very difficult. A good one too, it's almost impossible.
And what we've tried to do this school year, because this is the first year we've done that, is we say they at least have to have a bachelor's degree in the area
so
that
that
they
was
want
my
to do.
second
But
comment
ultimately,
was,
the board either thumbs up or thumbs down the superintendent recommendation. I don't have the authority, with the exception of at-will employees, to arbitrarily hire people.
my second comment was to add, what it says in our innovation plan on what our requirements are, which was the, current certificate, licensure, document expertise in the subject, the 2 years in industry or associates or higher.
Okay,
Is
so
that
I
something
can
you
speak to that, because I asked the same question myself when I spoke to legal about the revisions, and I asked that same question, and their recommendation was not to include the specifics, because one, it's already in the DOI plan, but if we bound ourselves to that in the written language of policy, and for instance, we have a candidate that checks all these boxes, but doesn't check one,
Yeah.
then we've eliminated ourselves from being able to bring forward that
My
candidate.
concern is, or to change what's the process to edit a DOI plan?
Well, the process is we'd have to reconvene the committee. The committee would then, if there was a recommendation by you all to convene the committee, we would look at whatever it was for you all that you were wanting to see changed. We would look at that, and then it'd be a back and forth process where we would then bring forward our recommendation, yay or nay, and kind of let you all, consider from there.
Edits to the DOI plan will always require board approval?
It needs to go to the board for approval since you all.
And it does
approved
have
the
a
plan.
shelf life of 5 years.
Correct. It has a 5-year shelf life where after the end of the 5th year term, we have to go to the board for renewal.
Okay.
So in 5 years, we will bring the plan
So
back
better
regardless.
known that. On DK, that one's not referenced in the DOI plan at all.
Specifically, what do you mean?
Assignments and schedules.
Yeah, I know it's just an offset of like DBA,
Mhm.
but there's no hyperlink to DK in the DOI plan today.
Okay. I think this one was more of just clarifying
Yeah, it
the
is.
fact that this just touches upon the DOI plan in general and not necessarily specific to anything like in the actual plan, but I think it was just their attempt at providing best practice for us.
Yeah, if we could, can we just add a link in there?
The hyperlink can be added, that's not a problem.
Not in the policy in the DOI plan, just, yeah.
Yeah, so you're saying.
To reference.
Yeah, to link it specifically to the DOI plan where it speaks to it, is that what you're asking?
The DOI plan should have every single policy, it's a touching, DK is currently not.
You're asking for
Just-
DK to be included into the DOI
Yes.
so that it matches?
Yes.
Okay.
Since
Since that's necessarily changing the plan, I'll just go ahead and add that.
Yeah.
And since that's being requested.
Let me ask for clarification. Was there a revision that you were asking for DBA? Because if that's the case, we would have to redact that for approval. But I don't know where you've gone with that. Were you satisfied with his explanation?
I'm satisfied knowing that, one, if the DOI plan changes, it has to be approved by the board, and then two, the board has to sign off on.
And it has a shelf life, a limited
Yeah.
shelf life.
EEB, I didn't like this one at all. The way it was worded, it's worded way better in like the DOI plan. I feel like it should say, it should more clearly indicate the 23rd student must be approved by the campus principal and superintendent. Then the 24th student is same, approved by campus principal, superintendent, plus notification to the parents and the boards. And then the third thing is anything above, classroom sizes above 24 students should require board approval. Right now, it's written in an EEB as just an above or coming upon 24 is just notification. It doesn't talk about yeah.
Are you talking about the DOI plan there at the end where it doesn't
The
clearly-
DOI plan, excellent.
Yeah,
The
'cause the DOI
policy,
plan is-
not excellent.
Well, it's not gonna repeat the same thing word for word that the DOI plan has, because that is the super specific details behind the policy that is just kind of overarching guidance, and that's just what this is. It's like, think about it from like a top down, this is
Yeah.
kind of the top, and then if you wanna know more about this,
I
then you go to the
understand that. I
plan to
just-
see how it looks implementation wise.
EEB, just notifying the board on 24 students, the way that is worded, I didn't like that at all. If it's above 24 students, it needs the approval or like the recommendation that it provides a lot of leeway that I don't like. The end.
Okay.
And then, FDA. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm taking up a long time. FDA, transfer students. So this was saying if a transfer student is bad, we can just kick them out instead of waiting for the end of the year for their contract to be up. And in the DOI policy, it mentions rare occasions, dealing with behavior, suspensions, placements in DAEP, expulsions, failing TEA truancy standards, which is awesome. But at the same time, I went to TM from pre-K through graduation, and I was a transfer student from first grade to graduation. And I remember one time in 7th grade, I made a 67 on a practice benchmark, and I got a letter in the mail saying, oh, whoa, like, we might kick you out or whatever because the score is real low. And it was a practice. But I just don't want to give that much authority to getting rid of transfers without naming behavioral or expulsions or truancy within the policy.
Correct. It would only focus on the extenuating circumstances such as what you mentioned. It wouldn't talk about anything performance related like with
But
the
the
benchmark.
policy is so broad, I feel like.
Well, let me say this, because every student is almost a case-by-case basis when it really comes to transfers and just looking specifically at the profile of the student. That's why it's important for us to kind of create that general kind of overarching policy that allows us the flexibility to actually analyze each student case by case, so that if there is some flexibility to make a call or to put on probation or to move forward with, termination of the agreement, it allows us to do that. I'm not saying that we would do that all the time, but we have the high school principal here tonight. At any point, you can always look at 1 or 2 students that are a transfer student that probably need to have a review done just based on a DAP placement or truancy concerns, things of that nature. Because at the end of the day, if you think about it, that student who is not living up to the agreement and going almost above and beyond not to live up to the agreement, they're taking up resources and time and energy that could be spent on our students or possibly even another transfer student who wasn't allowed to come in.
I
because we were
understand
full.
those things, and I completely agree with transfers potentially being removed due to those circumstances. I am scared having this policy and not spelling that out that if someone gets a low STAR test score, this policy is scary?
It's
for them?
spelled out in our transfer packet.
Okay.
It's on there.
Can I have the transfer report?
I'm sorry, is there still a contract with the transfers?
Yes.
We have a contract.
Okay,
Can
so.
I have the transfer contract?
Where we've changed recently is, historically, if a student did not pass state assessments, regardless of how long they've been in the district, they were asked to leave. I have amended that to where if they are, their behavior's good, they come to school, they're ours. Whether they pass a STAR test or not, they're ours. We have a responsibility to those students. And that-
Educate, yes.
That's the current procedures that we're following right now.
In my recollection of dealing with transfer students, we never asked a student to leave on, because of a low score in a.
That's not the goal of this.
Yeah, we never asked them. It was always a violation of disciplinary attendance and all that, which was discussed with the student and the parent upon applying
Multiple
for.
times.
Yes, so
We
I.
have to give the campus administration
Yeah.
flexibility to make those decisions at the lowest level.
Dr. White, how many people was it you by yourself, or how many people took this to legal?
Well, I reviewed it with legal, based on how I said I was going to when we put all the timelines and proposals together. Based on my conversations with them, this is what they brought back. And again, DOI's been around since about 2015, so legal's gotten very good at recognizing where kind of the pitfalls would be from the policy, matching or not matching the DOI plan. And like I said, this was their
You also
recommendation.
redacted one of the policies that was in first reading.
Correct.
It's going to be in an update.
They're currently going through their own update of I think it's 120 revision on FO, so that's the reason why it was pulled out, so that can also capture the most recent updates, so that wouldn't have to be brought forward again as another approval. So that's the reason why that was removed.
And I understand, like, we haven't done that in the past, but having a policy that's so broad, like, it takes one bad apple to, I don't know. I have a pandemic at this kid, they lowered this, they didn't get a good STAR test.
You don't wanna, but you also don't wanna box yourself in where now you've done something bad.
That's what I'm saying, the policy, you don't wanna box yourself in a policy because you're trying to give too much, because you're trying to give specific information, which is appreciated. But then you tie the hands of the district.
Policy's your best friend.
Yes.
Right, but it can be your worst enemy
If it's
if you
too
have a
narrow.
policy that says, if this happens, this is what we do. Because then if you deviate, then they say, well, it's not what you're supposed to do.
Correct. And the specifics will always be found in the DOI plan, but the policy is what we hang the hat on.
We at some point have to figure that our administration will do the right thing. That's why they're
And our
there.
legal counsel.
You know, and our legal
Right.
counsel, and I can attest to the fact that, I saw personally Mr. Van Matry bring back 2 kids that I had called him on that had been let go because of the STAR and lower, and he said, no, not because of that. If they were here, they were good kids, it's not gonna go because of grades. So at some point, you have to trust our system that it's gonna work and not, pinpoint every single thing because they've already done it, that's my opinion.
Yeah.
And I'm not an attorney and I'm not good at reading very much stuff and stuff, but I do understand, I might do it a different way than you do, but I do understand the street smart of having a organization that's gonna take care of our kids, and I think we have that in place.
Yeah, I trust this organization. To change the transfer contract, does that require board approval, or that's by the superintendent? So like when you remove the testing scores from it?
No, that's a procedural. That's not a policy.
Okay. But to edit that, what?
I can do that unilaterally through our, I would be more comfortable with it going through DEIC than just me doing it unilaterally.
because you'd asked Dr. White about, there was a committee
There was a
that
committee.
went together. And for how many months did y'all work?
A
on
year.
it? A year.
A full year.
Year.
We met on numerous occasions about this, so there was a lot of back and forth with the talks on the policy and the legal team review and the revision. That was just the last step we had to take to make sure that everything that we did differently or asked to be changed matched. That's all.
And there's a lot of guidelines that y'all had to follow as well.
Correct.
It was a complete process. It took a long time to do, and that's what Ben was asking about, because I get out that there was a lot of people involved and a lot of time and effort that went into it. And the policies have been around for a while, and like Paul was saying, and other people saying, you make the policy too strict, and you can't, it doesn't give it any leeway. It's not like a machine or something that has to be so precise, because when you do that, yes, because it's got to work real well. But these policies are adopted all over the state, and you can go from district to district, and the wording or the policy is slightly different, but they all have the same thing in mind.
Correct.
Well, and
And
legal
that's the main
counsel
thing.
has been dealing with DOI since 2015, so
Correct.
they've had quite a bit
They've
of
had
experience.
quite a bit of time to wrap their heads around how to word it in a way where we're at maximum protection for the district. And if you're curious enough to look beyond TM, to look at other DOI districts, you'll find that all the policies are very, very similar, if not identical.
Yes.
For that reason.
Well, the one thing, Denise, that I can attest to the past 2 years of being on this board is that if there's anything that you think is wrong, we can call a special board meeting, because we've had like 30 or 40 of them, and get it right. You know what I mean? So we, there's always a way to come back and fix something if we don't like it at that point. So, just so keep that in the back of your mind.
I'm gonna say my last comment on the last policy, FEC. We removed a whole lot of the policy. I wasn't comfortable with that. I believe we should maintain our current policy and then add a clause for exemption, based on what was written. But,
I guess my question on that one, I kind of started, as a parent, kind of started to get a little bit concerned. I mean, what is the lowest we would go for a kid to be sitting in a classroom? And I'm not talking about like a sick child. I'm talking about a kid that is a truance issue and we're trying to give them credit for their class or whatever. What would be the minimum that we would go? Because
To better
50%
understand the policy,
is.
we're going to use it in two different ways next year. The first is through Coastal Bend College. Coastal Bend College has Tuesday for our automotive kids. Those kids go to class Monday and Tuesday only in the morning. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, the expectation is them to get a credit. Well, they won't be able to attend class on Mondays and Tuesdays, so they'll only be able to attend 60% of the class. But they're still expected to do 100% of the work.
Okay, yeah,
So-
that's a totally different
Right,
situation than
that's
just
what-
kids that come into
Correct.
class.
But that's what this policy allows you to do.
It helps protect us
Is
when-
to say,
when
hey,
that
this
happens.
kid got an A, did every single thing they could, but because they wanted to pursue their dream of being a mechanic, we can allow that to happen.
Okay, that explains it a
The,
whole
the
lot
second
better.
thing is,
that's a
is
great
a
example.
unique thing to us because we're a year-round school. So we have numerous kids who do leadership academies in the summer that overlap with our start date. So we had a girl go to it was a leadership camp at the University of Texas. So she spent 2 weeks at a camp. We didn't count that towards attendance. To make up the attendance, we required her to make up the work. But it allowed us that freedom to say, we're not gonna punish you because we're a year-round school. So it helps in that manner as well. But as we start changing into a district that's pushing more and more CTE programs that are gonna require lots of clock hours, this is gonna really help us recoup some of that time so kids are able to just show mastery instead of showing, hey, I showed up, 60% of the time and I won't be able to get a credit because I wasn't there, even though I did every single thing I had to do.
Okay, that explains it a whole lot better. Appreciate that. Okay, so moving forward, I guess the biggest question are there changes that need to be made, or are we all right with what legal has done and we're gonna move forward?
I mean, y'all could vote on it, I'm not, but.
Was it an action item?
It is an action item, it's the second reading.
I would say, let me make the recommendation, and then if there's any, discussion.
I was just wondering if
Yeah.
there needed to be any more discussion, or did everybody have their questions answered?
Okay. It is the administration's recommendation that the board approve the revisions of policy AF local, DBA local, DCA local, DK local, EEB local, FDA local, FEC local, as recommended by TASB Policy Services as presented.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
Ms. Bella makes the motion, and then seconds it. All right. All those in favor? All those opposed? All right, motion carries 6-1.
Madam President, we're redacting item 6. We brought that to the board, I believe, in October, so we don't need to review that. We can go to consent.
Okay. All right, the first one is the check payment register. Is there any discussion on that? Any questions?
Were we able to get it in a friendlier format viewing?
Not really. I did try to mess around with it a little bit, but it really doesn't translate well to Excel. It's not any kind of sortable. I don't think it's going to do anything. But there are multiple reports that I haven't had a chance. The very first one didn't look very good.
Okay, number 2 is the enrollment report. Any questions on that? I think that kids want to come.
Yeah, we're gonna be fine.
If, I have one more question on the check payment. Can you talk about bus 21, 44, and 49? They were towed, and 49 was towed 2 times?
I'd have to go back and look at the notes. I know the 49 was a ECM issue, and they're still working on it at
We
this,
did get a
at this
new
time.
bus today.
We did?
It finally
Came
came
in?
in. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. I know.
A year and a half.
If you give me the bus numbers, I can give it. I'll give Mr. Van Matry the information. 21.
44, 49, and 49 was 2 times.
You'll just make sure that it's information. Any more questions? All right, number 3, regular and special call board meetings. Anything? All right, your recommendation.
Yes, Madam President, it is the administration's recommendation that the board approve the consent item agendas as presented.
Anybody make the motion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
And Beavis makes the motion, and Jamie seconds. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries 7-0. All right. It is 8:03, and the board will convene in closed meeting as authorized by the Texas Open Meetings Act to discuss items allowed by the Texas Government Code, Chapter 551.071.076.082, .0821, .083, and .084. It is 8:04 and we're in closed session.
Let's ask, we recess for 5-10 minutes.
So we're gonna recess for, 2 minutes is fine, at 8:04.
I'm sorry.
8:14.
That's it.
Are we good?
He gets him.
Okay, Chrissy, it's 10:42 and we're reconvening from closed meeting. Mr. Van Matry, is there any action resulting from closed?
Madam President, members of the board, it is recommended that the Board of Trustees issue a retire-rehire educator probationary contract for the remainder of the 22-23 school year to Dr. Shanna Yondell.
I will make that motion, please, sir.
I second.
Paul makes the motion and Janie is seconds it. All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries 6-0. All right. I know that we're all ready, so does anybody have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
There's no further business, so yeah.
Yeah.
I'll second it.
All right, Ben makes the motion. And Paul, Miss Stella.
Yeah.
Seconds it. This meeting is adjourned. It's 10:44 p.m. on January 9th, 2023. Oh, all in favor? All opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Meeting is adjourned at 10:44.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, y'all.